Paul, FA Cup, it's just got its own excitement.
Oh, I think so. I've said this all along, and I still do believe it. I think it's the best competition. Um, as an English football supporter, as an English player, now as an English manager, I love the FA Cup, and I really do want to be involved in it. I want to stay involved in it. We know it's not an easy draw for us. We know it's a horrible draw for our supporters with travel, but I want to stay in it, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to be solely focused on this and make sure we go and do it as well as we possibly can.
Is it an occasion style fixture, or is it just another fixture? It just happens to be the FA Cup.
No, I don't think it's an occasion, but the FA Cup is different. It takes, if anybody's feeling pressure because of the league situation, this is a not a distraction, but it's something different for us. But we've got to approach it in the right way. We know all about Orient. We played them recently, and we've just got to make sure that our performances are better.
Does that make any difference, the fact that we've played them recently?
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, obviously we've both got an idea of what each other's about. It was here last time. Whether they change and do it differently at home remains to be seen. But we know that there wants to be a winner. I'm quite sure they won't want a replay. We don't want a replay in the ideal circumstances. That said, I'll take a replay if it means staying involved in the tie. But it's a game that we've just got to really focus on ourselves. I've been very vocal about the fact I've been disappointed with our consistency or lack of consistency, and we have to get it sorted out. We've got to make sure we get the level of performance right, and hopefully if that happens, we've got the players who can get the victory.
And you've said it on the opposition, we know what a Richie Wellens team does.
Yeah, no, they'll be a good football side. They always try to play. I think it's probably fair to say they've gone away from the amount of football that they played last season in League Two. They're not looking to make as many passes as they were last year, but we still think it'll be a tough game for us. I still think they've got good individuals. They've had some injury issues as well, and we're not sure who's going to be back available. Don't know how Richie will approach it, but again, it really is about what we do. We've got to set a standard that we can maintain, because at the moment we're going a little bit too up and down, and it's not what we all want, certainly not what I want. I don't think it's what the supporters want. We have 1 week where we're all thinking that we're going to be fine and everything's looking rosy in the garden, and then we let ourselves down with a type of performance we had at Cambridge. So we have to sort that out. We've got to do something about it, and I know there's a determination to do it. What we need to do is see it in the game, see it on the big pitches when we get that opportunity.
You've touched on this with the competition. If you stay in it, it starts to build some real excitement fairly quickly.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think at the moment in this football club we've got a lot of excitement going on. There's a little buzz going on because of the noises that are being made. Unfortunately, the performances are not reaching that buzz level, and we have to get it. But if we can stay involved, then there's the finances that go with an FA Cup run, but there's also the confidence that you can gain from getting victories.
The sort of reaction have you had from the disappointment of last weekend?
Well, everybody knows how I am. I don't tend to dwell on it, but we've just got back to work and trained this week, and we're just making demands on players. We've had some really good sessions, really good training sessions. Players are applying themselves right. But again, I don't want us to be training ground players. I want us to go and perform when it really matters, and that's what the games are. Everything that we're doing is in preparation to try and get the performance right on Saturday, and that's the only thing I'm concerned with now.
We've seen this before this season. The lads do tend to bounce back when we want them to bounce back.
Yeah, and I've said it before. I'd much rather we weren't having to bounce back. I'd rather we just got a level of performance. The proof will be in the pudding this weekend when we go out and perform and hopefully get a result. Now, there's going to have to be changes because we've got the 2 suspensions, so other players will get that opportunity, and it's up to them to take it.
Seems ironic, doesn't it? We talked about the fact that you were pretty much going with a settled team for so many games, and then that happens. So Jack for 1 game, Alfie for 3, something to deal with.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. And as I said at the weekend, I after watching on the video, I still don't believe that any different to my view. I thought Jack's were too two sloppy, lazy yellow cards. Alfie's a little bit unfortunate, but I do see why the referee had to do it. And from what I've seen on the video and still shots of it, we had absolutely no leg to stand on in terms of an appeal, so we didn't do anything about that. But no, they're out of it, and we've got players who are waiting to come in. We've got other issues. We're still waiting to see how Finn back is, whether he's going to recover from this dead leg that he got from the Burton game. Jordan Gibson's had a bit of a disrupted week. In fact, going back to last Friday when his partner went into labour for their child. So thankfully Emma and the baby were both came through last night okay, and he's got a real healthy little girl now. So we're going to wait and see when he comes back into him, because he's been there with Emma all week. So we need to see how he is. He's had work set that he's had to do back at home, which he's done. So we'll see what he's like. But there may have to be other changes as well as the Jack Armour and the Alfie one, depending on how these other two are come the end of the week.
You thought Dylan and Hunts might be back and available. Will they be involved in some capacity?
They will, yeah. They will be in the squad. As it stands at the moment, we're actually struggling to make a full bench because we're allowed 9 subs, and the group that we've got, I'm not going to bring any out of the youth team. I think that just gives a bit of a false message. So we probably won't have a full bench to choose from, but we'll hopefully be able to pick the right side and have good replacements to come out. Any
of those other injured lads on the periphery, are they going to be available or for the bench at least?
No, not this weekend. Jack Ellis has had a third time that he's tried to go out on the grass and get some sort of loading on, and he's still not right. So he's going to go and have an injection into the area just to see whether that settles down. So he will be off feet for the rest of this week, and then we'll start to see how he's reacted for next week. Taylor Charters has started to build up his work, and he's going to join in the full session on Friday with the rest of the group, and then we're then looking at probably a week or 2 weeks of full training before he can be considered for selection. JJ is still long term. And apart from that, I think that's where we are.
The loan players, it's sometimes a game of cat and mouse with the parent clubs as to whether they're available or not. Are all our players being granted permission?
Terry and Luke are both available. We are still, as I sit here now, still waiting for clarification from Reading as to whether they'll let Jockle be available for selection, which isn't ideal, but they told us at the time that they wouldn't give permission, but if we discuss it nearer the time. We've been waiting for an answer, and we're still waiting at the moment. So hopefully Jockle will be available. We're just going to have to wait and see on that one.
You said it already, though. Whatever the selection is, it's a chance for people to say, I'm in, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah, well, the selection isn't going to be a case of rotating players. The selection will be what I believe is the best 11 to go and win the game, and then the bench will select itself because of numbers available, and they have to go and perform. I'm tired of coming out after games and having to answer questions about not performing and where does this leave us and all those sorts of things. I want us to go and perform. The only thing that I want to concern myself with this weekend is who can we get in the second round of the FA Cup. We have to perform, we have to earn the right to get a result, and if we do that, we can make it a good day.
And you know full well it's a competition that can create memories.
Yeah, of course it can. It's a brilliant competition to be involved in. Listen, I'm not sitting here and thinking Carlisle United are going to go and win the FA Cup, but why shouldn't we be dreaming of getting into the second round, and why shouldn't we be looking at that first weekend in January and trying to get a nice plum tie that's got the potential to make us a lot of money. That's what we need, but it all starts by winning in the first round, and that's what we've got to do.
This particular takeover is all part of this excitement. The Piatics have tweeted about get yourself to the Charlton game. It looks so positive at the moment, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, I can only go off what I've heard out of the social media posts that are coming, but it does sound like it's really positive. They've got fantastic plans in place to make this a really good environment to be part of. I'm looking forward to the challenge of trying to improve the squad with this step change in budget that's been discussed. I've had a couple of conversations with Tom and with Patty, and I think it's really exciting, the enthusiasm that they're going to bring to it. and hopefully it'll help the club move forward.
And hopefully it'll help to lift everybody and on and off the pitch so that we can all do that, exactly that, move forward.
Yeah, well, I think we're in that little bit of limbo at the moment, because everybody's heard that it's going to happen, and then when you go for a few weeks where there doesn't seem to be a lot going on in the public eye, everybody starts to get a little bit nervous and wondering whether this is the same scenario that happened a few years ago and the same scenario that happened a few years before that. So this seems to be at a really good point. My impression that I'm getting from the current board is that they're comfortable with what they've been told, and the impression that the Payataks are giving. So let's see what comes, but hopefully if it is going to be the Charlton game, then let's hope we've got an exciting time ahead.
And they speak so highly of you publicly, Paul. They've done it in a huge forum with fans in an event, telling them that, you know, that they see you as a really good manager. What does that mean to you to hear that from potential new owners?
Well, it's massive in management, because I know how fickle it is, and the results at the moment don't reflect that I'm a good manager, and that's what disappoints me a little bit, because I honestly do believe that we're doing the right things. We're trying to do the right things. Unfortunately, we're not getting the results that are going with the work that we're putting in. And I know that I need to get results, because from people considering I'm a good manager, it can very soon change, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to be positive. I made a commitment by coming back and moving back into the area with Jackie, and I want to stay here. I don't want to have to be looking to move again and to move on. I want to be here for the long term. I said when I came back into the club, however many months ago it was, that I wanted it to be better. I wanted it to improve, and I'm doing everything I possibly can. I hold my hands up. I have made mistakes, because I'm human, and I would imagine I will carry on making mistakes, but I'm making mistakes trying to do the right things, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. So hopefully this weekend, we can get a good performance, we can get a good result, and people can still think I'm a good manager and can still think that we're good players, and then who knows what will come next week.
And just finally, that commitment that you made started with an away win at Leyton Orient. The fans were absolutely fantastic that day. Wouldn't it be good to be celebrating again?
Yeah, well, after that, I think we've had 3 defeats to them now, so I want that to change. I think it's our turn to go and do it properly. We can't expect Orient to do us any favours. They didn't do us any favours when we won that game, my first game of this second time round. So we have to go and do it properly. Let's make sure we do it right, and if we do that, then we can take whatever comes.
Paul, brilliant, thank you.